Hello and welcome to Catholic Life. I'm your host, John Buckwheat. And today I have some folks on they're going to tell us about homeschooling. They're connected with Seton Home Study School, and I welcome them all to my program. Stephen Rossi on my far left over there, and your son Thomas, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. And then your brother John Rossi, and your daughter
Michaela.
Welcome, Michaela, right? Michaela, I forgot the A on there. Alrighty. You know, I ruin names, folks. It's terrible. But I tell you what, before we start talking about homeschooling, let's take 30 seconds out for a thank you message from the bishop. So stay tuned, folks. This program was brought to you through the general support of Catholic Diocese of Arlington, established in 1974, serving over 400,000 Catholics in 21 counties in Virginia. It is a home to 67 parishes and 44 Catholic schools. His Excellency, the Most Reverend Bishop Paul S. Laverty, has served the diocese since 1999, opened 6 new parishes, 3 new schools, and 3 new missions. The diocese is the fastest growing in the country, with a 40% growth rate in the past decade. To learn more, visit their web, www.arlingtondiocese.org. Hello and welcome to Catholic Life. I'm your host, John Buckwheat. And today, as I said before, I have some folks on that I've known. I've known Stephen over there on the far left for a long time. I see him running by my house every day. He runs the marathon, and he happens to live in my neighborhood, and he's going by every morning, practicing running and so forth. And one day we were talking, and he was talking about homeschooling. And I says, how would you like to come on the show and talk about homeschooling? And he said, that's a good idea, John, and that's why he's here. So I'm going to start off with Steve. Stephen Rossi, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get going.
Yes, thank you, John. I've lived in your neighborhood for over 30 years, so it's nice to be there and to run by your house and go to St. Michael's where we go to church. We see you there in the morning. So yeah, we got involved with homeschool about 10 years ago, and it was great. We were actually in a traditional Catholic school before then, and when my oldest son, who's now 18, was in kindergarten, and by the time he was in the 3rd grade, he was actually spending about 7 hours a day in school, and then maybe another 3 to 4 hours a night of homework. So all of his waking hours were spent in study. So we thought, hey, this is a little much for a 2nd, 3rd grader. So we thought we would try homeschooling.
Try the homeschooling.
Yes, and I think for us it was important to have my wife, who does the majority of the homeschooling. She was interested in doing it, and of course our son was as well, and that's the winning combination. I think you really have to have a desire to homeschool, and that's really all it takes.
And who's this gentleman you brought with you here?
This gentleman here is my youngest child, Thomas, and he's now been graduated to the 3rd grade, and he was looking forward to being on your show, and we're glad to be here.
Well, Thomas, I'm going to talk to you in a little bit, but not right now. I'm going to let your uncle John talk for a moment. John Rossi, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a former professor, university professor, and a certified licensed high school teacher. Very committed to education. So when my wife Donna and I wanted to educate our children, we wanted what was best for them. And as we did a little qualitative analysis of the great public school systems that we have here in Fairfax County, the wonderful Catholic schools, and homeschooling, we just estimated that homeschooling would have the potential to provide the best possible overall education. And I think the proof is in the pudding, as our children have grown now and at the end of their high school, and one of them is in college.
And you brought your daughter along with you.
I did.
And your name again, Michaela, right?
Michaela.
And what grade level are you in now?
I'm a junior in high school.
Junior in high school. Okay. And Thomas, what grade are you in now?
3.
Third grade. Well, now tell me why would one want to get into homeschooling, and who qualifies for that? Because I'm sure that in today's world, where the father works and the mother works and everybody, so I'll let somebody pick up on that.
In Virginia, when we first started, you have to be a college graduate. So my wife graduated from Marymount University, she qualified. I'm a civil engineer. I qualified as well. But I think they reduced the requirements down to high school limit. So if you just have a high school diploma in the state of Virginia, you are allowed to teach homeschooling. And what I was going to say about my oldest child was, in a 3-hour period, he was done with his whole homeschooling when it's the one-on-one activity. Then it makes sense. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, you have 25 children in a class, and the teacher has to get them all disciplined first before she can even or he can even start to teach them anything.
Well, how many children do you have that you're homeschooling?
I have 3.
Three.
Yes.
There's 3 you're doing.
Yes, my oldest just enrolled in George Mason University. So it's great. He wants to live at home, so it's 7 miles away from the house, and we're glad to have him home, and we're looking forward to that.
It certainly saves money too.
Yeah, that helps.
That's right. And so you mentioned only one, and then there's Thomas. There's another one in
and
there.
my daughter Melissa, Erica is my oldest. Melissa is 16, and we homeschool her as well. So all of us. Yes. And Thomas.
And John, how many are you homeschooling now?
We have 4, and our oldest is now an electrical engineering major in college, and she's doing great. And we have Michaela, who has just done flying colors in SATs and standardized testing. We also have Janine, who's 9th grade and doing very well, and we have a 10-year-old who's in 5th grade. And we homeschool all of them.
All of them.
And as Stephen said, if you have the desire to homeschool, you can do it. The laws in Virginia are very supportive of homeschooling families.
Well, now, let's get into a little more detail. How does that work? For example, let's say maybe you're not very good in math. Maybe the husband's not that good. I mean, I had to take a calculus in high school 2 years in a row, and algebra 2 years. I wasn't too good with the math. How do you handle that? Or maybe you're not good at a language, and they want to study Spanish. Let's get into detail and tell us how you're going to handle that.
You know, we actually taught Spanish, but we didn't understand Spanish. Debbie and I didn't know the language. But we got Rosetta Stone, for instance, which is a private off-the-shelf software. You can load up on the computer, and Thomas is using it now. And our oldest 2 have finished it. It's worth 2 years of high school language. And they basically taught themselves by that program. You want to say something, Thomas?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering for
Yeah.
that reason.
But actually, both parents have to be deeply dedicated to this. It can't be up to the husband to do all the work, or vice versa.
That's right.
It has
That's
to be
right.
both of you.
You know, what happens in elementary school is you can teach elementary school. And by the time they get to high school, where they do need to have the calculus and the physics labs, homeschool students become very independent learners. So rather than needing a teacher to push that material on them, the students learn how to do their own research and draw from the material that's available. 30 years ago, it was difficult. But now, homeschooling is so mainstream, there are tremendous resources available for anyone who wants to homeschool.
Well, I'm going to I'll talk to your children in just a moment, but let me see, what book would they start with? How would you get the first step?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, John, because one of the books I brought, this inspired us when we first started.
And this is the first book that you get.
Yes, that's Catholic
My
Homeschooling.
cameraman's going to zoom in on that. Go ahead.
This is Catholic Homeschooling, and it was co-written by Kimberly Hahn and Mary Hassan. Kimberly Hahn, you might know, is the wife of Dr. Scott Hahn, a professor in Steubenville, Ohio. And this was a great book that inspired us to pursue the homeschooling effort.
And so this is their first book that they would have to get involved in.
That's a good start.
And now the next one.
Well, this was the first homeschool book that we used. This can teach a child to read in 100 simple lessons. In fact, we used this with Michaela, and she was able to read phonetically before she turned 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah, we were really amazed at how
I'm
well
going to look
that
through
book
here.
worked.
Oh, look at that large print, folks. That's what I don't need the glasses to read this book. How about that? Great big letters, great big print. Very good. And they got a few cartoons in there, folks. See the cartoons? That's what I always liked in it. So this is the reading book, the first reading book. And what else do you have there?
This one, you know, homeschooling is not just for moms anymore.
Oh,
This is a book written by John Clark, who is the son of Dr. Mary K. Clark, who runs the Seton Homeschool, the home study school.
well,
And
she
this
was
is
on my show, and so was
yes,
John.
I know. And this book here, written by John, who is a father of 9, is written for homeschooling dads. And it's not just dad's role as the background supporter. It is dad as the involved homeschooler, which we strongly support.
And that word involved is very important.
Yes.
I'm sure that when you're working at the office or wherever it is you're working, you come home from work and then you have to pick up the books and get going with your children on a lesson. That's real dedication. Yes. And another thing too, you'd have to really, how do you figure your time? For example, whether it's the public school or the Catholic schools, there's 10 o'clock is this and 11 o'clock is that and 12 noon is lunch. How do you do that? It's English at the same time every day? How do you handle that?
I think every homeschool family is different on that. We pretty much start about the same time, but it's not a rigid time, and the same for lunch. But it's pretty much what needs to be done at the time and what the student feels like doing at the moment that they're mostly interested in. As long as you're finished up with the work by the end of the day or the end of the week, that's really all that's important.
Is there any kind of a control from Seton Home Study School? Do they check on the progress?
Yes, we mail in our exams for grading, and they give the grades, and we accept what they give us. Thomas is a straight A student, and he got the Special Achievement Award that we have up on the dining room wall.
And then every year, at the end of the year, we send independently graded standardized testing to Fairfax County so that there's accountability at the public level.
Those are the California Achievement Tests, or the CAT tests you might have heard of.
Now, I'm going to go back to Thomas. I want to ask you a question here. What about in sports now? At the public schools and the parochial schools, they have soccer and they have basketball and they have intramural games and sports. What do you do in the line of sports, and how do you achieve what you would like to do in the sport world?
So you're telling me that which one do I do in that?
Well, I mean, if you like sports, how do you get involved in? Because there's no other students except your big brother, maybe, and he's not there. You know what I mean?
Well, he does fencing, and how I figured that out was he goes every day, well, not every day, but he goes to free fencing.
Do you do fencing?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah.
How are you doing in it? Pretty good?
Yeah.
I'm sure you
He
are.
just entered the advanced class
There you go.
for 9-year-olds, but he's only 8, just turned 8, so we're very happy with his progress.
Mikhail, in your world now, you're a junior in high school, correct? All righty. What do you do? How do you handle the social activities? For example, as we both know, the schools have their spring dance and their fall festival dances, and the Christmas dances and so forth at schools. What about your social life in that area?
Yeah, we have a lot of social activities with a few homeschool groups that we have. Some are associated with our church and a few other churches. And so we did get a prom, which was a couple weeks ago, which was with the Chisha program, where it was a full prom and everything.
Really?
Yeah.
So in other words, the homeschooling, if you want to elaborate on that,
Yeah.
go ahead.
The SHISA, or it's pronounced by different people, CHISA, it stands for Catholic High School Young Adults Group. So it's a high school organization, and actually my son Eric was on the committee for the prom that actually put it together. And they had, I think, over 100 people coming to that, mostly homeschoolers. It's open to anybody, friends of homeschoolers as well. And it was really a fabulous prom. They had certain dress codes, and we even went out to the local restaurant afterwards, so I was there till 1 o'clock in the morning. Not that I wanted to do that, but I was there.
It's typical, yeah. You only have to do it one time.
You have
though.
to do it, yes.
Yeah.
So it's really, I would say there's too many social activities as far as, you just can't do them all in the studies as well. And in fact, I made a long list here of things that they do. And they have ice skating by Reston ice skating rink outside. My daughter, Melissa, ran that event for the Chissa group, and had a large turnout. It's very good. And it's great for the parents. They can sit in the Panera Bread right there and have a cup of coffee while they're waiting for the
So the homeschool
homeschoolers
parents
to finish.
interconnect with each other.
Yes,
Through
yes.
email and other methods and so forth.
It's a great network.
A good networking system. So it's really, they're not just alone studying in the books and go out and sit in the backyard waiting
Exactly.
for something to happen.
No.
There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. Well, I see you have some more books there, John. What else you got
Well,
there?
this is a religion book. This was written by Dr. Scott Hahn, and it's part of the Didache series. And we can use that in high school. I wanted to bring in some high school material. And this is a very solid, approved by Seton. And by the way, Seton has regional accreditation. So it is an authorized, certified, accredited program. And this is one of the religion programs that we used.
Wow. I'm just going to do this as my cameraman picks up some of these pages as you're talking, John. Oh, my. You see, carry on. You said they use this?
Yeah, we use this for our religion. There are 4 in the series, so you could use one for 9th grade, one for 10th, one for 11th, and one for 12th. And we've used 2 of them, along with some other material from Seton. So they get a very solid Catholic religious training in the homeschool.
Absolutely marvelous. I like all the pictures in there. It's a heavy book.
Yeah.
And what I see you got another
And
one.
this is the last one. I wanted to bring this in because this is a pre-calculus and trigonometry book. It's by
Trigonometry?
yeah, it has
Oh,
trigonometry.
put that down.
Trigonometry and pre-calculus.
Yes.
And it's part of what they call the Matthew C program. I used it for my juniors. Michaela just finished it recently, and my older Elise finished it. And from this background, they both qualified to take the full college calculus starting as seniors in high school. So Michaela will start full college calculus in the fall. It's a great book that definitely prepares them. And having been a math teacher, I was pretty
Is
critical.
this some of your work in there?
Yeah.
It is?
I've always drawn my math book.
I'm going to tell everybody what you do. Look at that. See what she's doing in her math book. How about that? Do I have you embarrassed enough now? That's great. Yeah. You're a pretty good artist. I
Thank
think
you.
you ought to forget this math class and go into art.
Great.
Well, you got a horse jumping a fence there.
So you see, we have fun as well as learn the calculus.
As long as you're learning.
Yeah.
By the way, let's talk about art for a second. Now, not all parents are artistic and do art. Supposing your student wanted to do art, such as Mikhail, right?
Yeah.
Who would do that? How do you handle that?
You can outsource some of that. There are many programs in the area in Northern Virginia. This is a very rich area for homeschooling opportunities. So you can outsource that, and they take, Michaela takes private flute lessons, for example. So she plays flute, she plays in a community band, and she plays competitive chess, she swims on the swim team. You can outsource to have them learn special course material that you maybe don't feel comfortable teaching yourself at home.
Now, when you say outsource, let's clue us in a little bit about that. How does that work? There
Well-
must be some kind of a connection, an interconnection you have.
Well, for example, Fairfax County allows homeschool students to take up to, but no more than 2 classes at the local public high school. So Michaela takes honors physics and a Spanish class over there in Fairfax County. There are some churches that offer classes in, you name it, they've got all the classes available. Art classes, you can also take them through some of the community public services.
You know what, John? Thomas wants to show you a couple of his books.
Oh,
too.
okay, Thomas,
Yeah,
show me
Tom.
some of your books here. Let me set these over here just a second. I'm dropping everything all over the place. There we go. All right, what have you got, Thomas? Go ahead, you talk. It's your turn. St. Francis of Assisi. And what is the story?
That is one of my book review things.
Uh-huh.
That it is on a test that I have to send to Seton, and they grade it.
So you read this, and then you have to do a report, a book report.
Yeah.
Do you like to do book reports? Not really, huh?
No.
I don't know very many students that do like to do book reports. What's your favorite subject?
In the book reports?
No, just favorite subject. English, math, science, social,
art.
huh?
Art.
You like art? Uh-huh. How about that? Uh-huh. I don't see you not drawing in your book. She draws in her book.
I don't supposed to draw on that.
No, you can't draw in these books. What, do you have another book there now?
No, I'm not drawing in any of these books.
No, I know. All right.
Except the math book.
Tell me a little bit about this book.
Well, that is a great book. There were many books, and I picked that one because it has the people, but it is darker writing.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Oh, these are, again, stories that you have to do a book report on.
No.
No, you don't have to do a book
No,
report.
that is just a thing
It's a
to
reading.
practice me to read.
Oh, I
reading
see.
book.
And I like its large print, too. St. Anthony. And it goes on and tells all the different stories in the Bible and so forth, and the various saints. St. Paul. Oh, yes. And St. Dorothy. It's a beautiful book. It's an enjoyable book.
I think one of the things that's interesting too is you don't see too many math books that are, you know,
All right.
are filled
Thank you,
with
Thomas.
holy pictures in it.
This is your
that's-
math book,
And
right?
that's something that Seton is pretty good at. They'll have religious pictures throughout any subject matter book.
And who gives you the smiley marks?
The stickers, yeah.
The stickers. Is that if you do a good job?
No, I just do it because I want
Oh,
to.
I see. Uh-huh.
And when you
I don't
finish the
see very
page-
many wrong answers on here. I don't
Yeah.
see any black marks either. How about that? Well, listen, we got to keep right on going here. Let's talk some more about on how to get started and so forth. And what are some of the problems that might come up, and some stories that you might have, either Stephen or
Yeah.
John, if you'd
I
like.
think the desire to do it is important from the parents' perspective, and the children certainly want to do it. There's no question about that. I've never heard of a child who says, I don't want to homeschool, especially in the younger ages. Maybe later on some want a little more interaction on a regular basis, on a daily basis with other students their age. But I know that in our case, the happiness level took a day to soar. When you figure that all of your waking hours are spent in the books, and then in a 3-hour period with the one-on-one activities, you can do it. And in a case for us, Seton was almost like a recipe. You know, you look at the process that you need to do, they spell it out for you, and you just do it.
Well, don't they have also a convention every year at the...
Yes, in fact, I think John brought something.
Tell us about that,
Yeah.
John.
And we don't work for Seton, but
No, but
we
they've been
do
on
wanna
my show
promote
3
it.
times.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So
And,
they have an annual conference. This year it's in Fredericksburg,
Uh-huh.
and it's the Immaculate Heart of Mary Conference, the IHM conference.
Yeah.
And you can go there and pick up materials and
And
I've
Seton is
been to
just
their
one of
show,
the
yeah, I've
groups.
been to their conventions,
Yes.
and they have people lined up. They have the college. There's people there from
Yes.
different colleges,
Yeah, Ave Maria,
all the different
Steubenville.
colleges, and it's crowded, crowded,
and it's free.
and it's free. Yes.
So it's a great way to get started.
Now, how would someone contact? We only have about 2 minutes left,
Yeah.
so let's wind it up. How would someone get started? Was there a telephone number, and is there people that you can communicate with them so
Well,
they can get together?
I think our email addresses are at the bottom of the screen. You feel free to write
Feel
to
free,
us,
yeah.
call me at the telephone number that's listed. We'll be happy to
Call,
to talk
email.
about it.
One more book.
One
You
more
want me to
book.
show me one more book? All right, we have about 45 seconds, Tom.
45 seconds.
Thomas, huh? English 2. All right.
45 seconds.
And again, lots of pictures. Father Brown gave me a medal. Oh, you know what I like about this? It keeps the faith all the way through the books. I noticed that in the math books. If somebody gave you 3 fishes and 2 loaves, and they added 4 more. What's the answer? It's related to the Bible, isn't it, all the way through?
Yes.
And not overly done either. Yeah, St. Francis, it goes on and on and on. It's a beautiful book, folks. Ah, the cathedral. You know what? If you'd all like to say, I got about 1 minute, and we're going to wrap it up. So I'm going to ask your dad, and I'm going to ask your dad to say 1 or 2 things, and then I'm going to ask you how you like homeschooling.
Okay.
Go ahead, you start first.
I like the flexibility. I like that the family is together the whole time, and that's my favorite thing about it.
And John, how about you?
Yeah, it offers a purity and closeness in the family.
Yes. And Thomas, how would you like to say to our viewing audience about homeschooling?
I like homeschooling because their public schools, they do not have like good handwriting or stuff.
And your handwriting is very good, and I like your first communion suit, by the way. You've made your first communion, you got the medal to go with it. That's great. Michaela, how about you?
Yeah, I also like the flexibility. I like being able to mix up my schedule so that I just do what I feel like I want to get done now.
That's right. And you can practice music at any time. You
Yeah.
can do your English at any time.
Yeah, right.
You can do your English at 10 at night, or you can do it at 10 in the morning. That's right. And
Yeah.
you can do your math when you're ready to do it.
Yeah.
But it's got to get done. And
Stop and have lunch when we want to.
And there's all the SATs and so forth and all that, all the exams. Folks, you know what? We ran out of time. I think we got to wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming on to the show, Mr. and Mr. Rossi, rather. And thank you both for coming on. Folks, we're all living on this planet Earth. We have nowhere else to go. And while we're living on this planet Earth, I hope we all go to the same place when we do leave. But while we're here, let us all be a little more compassionate and charitable, hopeful, loving, peaceful, kind, and understanding every day in our work and in our play. So long, and God bless. This program was brought to you through the general support of Catholic Diocese of Arlington, established in 1974, serving over 400,000 Catholics in 21 counties in Virginia. It is a home to 67 parishes and 44 Catholic schools. His Excellency, the Most Reverend Bishop Paul S. Laverty, has served the diocese since 1999, opened 6 new parishes, 3 new schools, and 3 new missions. The diocese is the fastest growing in the country, with a 40% growth rate in the past decade. To learn more, visit their web, www.arlingtondiocese.org.